ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ समस्तब्रह्मविद्या आचार्येभ्यो ऋषिभ्यो मुनिभ्यो गुरुभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमः। श्रीवेदव्यासवैशम्पायन याज्ञवल्क्य आद्यशङ्कराचार्यादिगुरुभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद पारायणम्. Let us chant from the beginning because we have concluded yesterday the Tritiya Bhruguvalli in our Parayanam. Okay, start. ॐ प्रथमा शिक्षा वल्ली ॐ शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। शिक्षां व्याख्यास्यामः वर्णस्वरः मात्राबलं सामसन्तानः इत्युक्तः शिक्षाध्यायः। सहनौ यशः सहनौ ब्रह्मवर्चसम् अथा तस्संहिताया उपनिषदं व्याख्यास्यामः। पञ्चस्वधिकरणेषु अधिलोकमधिज्योतिषमधिविद्यमधिप्रजमध्यात्मं तामहासंहिता इत्याचक्षते। अथाधिलोकं पृथिवीपूर्वरूपं द्यौरुत्तररूपम् आकाशः सन्धिः वायुः सन्धानम् इत्यधिलोकम् अथाधिज्योतिषम् अग्निः पूर्वरूपम् आदित्य उत्तररूपम् आपः सन्धिः वैद्युतः सन्धानम् इत्यधिज्योतिषम् अथाधिविद्यम् आचार्यः पूर्वरूपम् अन्तेवास्युत्तररूपम् विद्यासन्धिः प्रवचनगं सन्धानम् इत्यधिविद्यम् अथाधिप्रजम् माता पूर्वरूपम् पितोत्तररूपम् प्रजासन्धिः प्रजननगं सन्धानम् इत्यधिप्रजम् अथाध्यात्मम् अधराहनुः पूर्वरूपम् उत्तराहनुरुत्तररूपम् वाक्सन्धिः जिह्वासन्धानम् इत्यध्यात्मम् इति मामः सगंहिताः य एवमेतामः सगंहिता व्याख्याता वेद सन्धीयते प्रजया पशुभिः ब्रह्मवर्चसेनान्नाद्येन सुवर्गेण लोकेन यश्छन्दसां वृषभो विश्वरूपः छन्दोभ्योऽध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया स्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणं जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवम् ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया विहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय आवहन्ते वितन्वाना कुर्वाणा चिरमात्मनः वासागंसि मम गावश्च अन्नपाने च सर्वदा ततो मे श्रियमावह लोमशां पशुभिः सह स्वाहा आमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा विमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा प्रमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा दमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा शमायन्तु ब्रह्मचारिणः स्वाहा यशोजने सानि स्वाहा श्रेयान्वस्य सोसानि स्वाहा तन्त्वा भगप्रविशानि स्वाहा समाभगप्रविश स्वाहा तस्मिन् सहस्रशाखे निभगाहन्त्वयि मृजे स्वाहा यथा प्रभतायन्ते यथा मासा अहर्जरम् एवं मां ब्रह्मचारिणः धातरायन्तु सर्वतः स्वाहा प्रतिवेशोऽसि प्रमाभाहि प्रमापद्यस्व ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ अथ श्रीकृष्णयजुर्वेदान्तर्गत तैत्तिरीय आरण्यकान्तर्गतः तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद ॐ प्रथमा शिक्षा वल्ली ॐ यस्मात् जातं जगत् सर्वं यस्मिन्नेव प्रलीयते येनेदन्धार्यते चैव तस्मै ज्ञानात्मने नमः यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम् तैत्तिरीयकसारस्य मयाचार्यप्रसादतः विस्पष्टार्थरुचीनां हि व्याख्येयं सम्प्रणीयते ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Because we are educated in the Western way of education, because from the time we are born, all around us, everything shown was only the externalities, the external world. And that is how we were trained and we were brought up also. Because of all these, for us, the life means involving outside, indulging outside, reveling outside, living the life only for the external. Because of this type of nature that has formed in us, all our cultural, spiritual, traditional way of life of introvertedness, life of spirituality, life of Shastra Adhyanam, life of Adhyatmika Sadhana appears to be alien, foreign also, appears to be redundant also, appears to be non-understandable, non-acceptable, non-practical. Our minds are this way, non-positively, from this standpoint, are trained. Therefore, only we feel all these are not required at all. But from this standpoint, if we see, from the ultimate standpoint of moksha also, we must study Shastras. From the standpoint of our culture and tradition also, we must study the Shastras. And also, all the shastric way of life, of introvertedness, sadhana, when we live, then only our inner standard of life of all levels of personality become glorified, evolutioned, or it gets evolved, not otherwise. So today, if we are chanting the Veda mantra, let us not imagine that they are not required. In fact, they have to be made as most important, most compulsory, most necessary to trace back ourselves to our own tradition and culture. Individual. Totally, when will the entire world or the nation goes back to its Rishi Parampara of Antarmukata and Atma Prapti and Moksha Ananda Prapti? That we can't say, but at our individual level, what I believe personally, it is not insisted on you, is let us undo all our minds of thinking that they are not required and thinking that the life outside alone is the complete life. That is the notion from where we have to come back as our tradition or as our culture, which is it's a result of the evolution of the so many great saints and sages. Our entire day schedule, right from morning, evening, oriented to that system. Getting up early morning, doing our all upasana, deeparadhanas, and then involving our nitya karma duties and having the study of our bhakti shastras and developing bhakti to the Paramatma in whatever the form we choose, and also doing the swadhyaya of our own shastras, Upanishads, and thus keeping intact our ultimate goal. And the part of that is learning Sanskrit. Part of that is daily doing the parayana of the Upanishad mantras, daily doing parayana of the Bhashya. They all have to again restart in our life. They were forgotten. Each of us, you and me, maybe last some hundreds of lives, we have gone away from this. Now again, I believe personally, Bhagwan is giving us a chance to come back to our own original roots. What is the goal? Imagine ourselves to be also in that traditional attire of the rishis, munis of the past, where we are living in such a simple life outside, but inside we are in a very high, sublime level of life of Shastra Jnanam and Sadhana and Anubhuti. Along with that, as a byproduct of all this, the entire inner glory of our Vyaktitva, whether we call it as the sharpening of intellect, the beautification of the mind, the control of the sense organs, the discipline of the body, every one of them have to be in the highest level of perfection. Not living lavishly with the senses outside, just like animals, the biped animals, the suited, booted, coated animals. No. So this is what we should feel, and then every day, whether we have the class or not, each of us have to commit ourselves for our own routine of tuning to our culture, tradition, especially spiritual. In this very Prathama Valli, after I think 8th or 9th Anuvaka itself, we will see how Bhagwan in one paragraph, the Rishi Mata, Shruti Mata, Rishi, in one paragraph, one Anuvaka, number 10, I think, they will give exhaustively in one para only entire lifestyle we have to live external as well as internal. Those mantras of Ritam cha Swadhyaya Pravachane cha Satyam cha Swadhyaya, they are the highest order, sublime, all inclusive. So all these 6 7 minutes of introduction is given only to say that it is not me only who is chanting the Veda mantras every day. Each of you also please open your book and start chanting without any hesitation or doubt. Then only with the practice, little perfection will come to us. Along with that, the subject which we are studying, although it appears to be difficult because of our inner inabilities, but it is the consistency alone which slowly gives us the ability. With the ability, because of consistency, after certain years, when we start understanding the theme indicated in the Upanishads as well as the sadhana indicated, when it is known, we will be struck with such a joyful wonderment to us that all the way what I was studying with less understanding or confusion, and out of some or inner or outer compulsions, what in fact I did was the best thing which I could have done in all my lives of evolution. That feeling will come. Like for me, last 2 years, thousands of things I could have done. But somehow it is Guru Krupa, Guru Parampara Krupa that he just made me forget all. Do only Swadhyaya and Shastra Pravachana. I could have gone, stayed in some pilgrimage, going in some ashram, stay, go for begging, like a Bhataktu हुए Mahatma की तरह I can go. Anything can be done, no? Everything is possible in this world. But somehow, what is taken up of the study of Upanishads, study of Itihasa, study of Purana, study of Prakarana Granthas, personally to me, has given me such a fulfillment and joy. If at all something second best can be done, that is this only. And what is the first best? Even beyond that, having understood the goal and means thoroughly, totally transcending all, even the pravachanadi ityadi, and only remain in this dhyana sadhana. A step before dhyana sadhana, if at all is there, this our everyday dedicated only for satsanga, for the manana chintana, for the upasana to purify our antakarana, unless we are very importantly, urgently called for in the world. That the ruling party at the national government, they said, if we want to make you as the president of India, if they call us, then only we should go. No less than that. Only two things, either president of India or the resident of our own house doing our swadhyaya sadhana and all our daily nishtha and anushఠāna. That should be our way of convincing our intellect with the right thinking and making the mind to adopt what intellect said, which is correct. It's all the drama in the mind intellect. It's the emotions of the mind doesn't allow first of all intellect to work. Even if intellect start working, the emotions and senses keep on pulling it. But that intellect, after getting data from the Guru and Shastra, it independently ponders, unbiasedly when it thinks, it will definitely understand what is the best. That is a power in every intellect, individual's intellect. Once what is the best is understood, how come any mana or indriyas have the authority or the strength to propose to the intellect something lesser than what is convinced by intellect? This is how each individual has to look within and with the positive convictions. Convictions are not sufficient. What we are convinced about, that alone should become our lifestyle. And the life is lived by us at the mind and senses level. So when our mind and senses, they also are in tune with the buddhi and its conviction, then we are fully integrated personality, that too towards the ultimate goal of truth, because intellect has explained to us everything in the world is mithya. Paramatma alone is reality. Therefore, real Paramatma, when we gain, then only the real Ananda will come to us. The permanent Paramatma, when we gain, then permanent Ananda will come to us. The eternal Paramatma we gain, then only eternal Ananda. That conviction of the Buddhi, when it is passed to mana and senses, when they are integrated, total life is for spiritual. And that is our legacy. That is our main purpose. Whether any part of the world we are born with, whatever the technique each one goes through, ultimately every individual in their own language or the path indicated by their gurus, this is what they have to achieve. And you and I belong to Bharata Varsha, Sanatana Dharma. We belong to the Rishi Guru Parampara, and ours is this way of living a disciplined life for some time. Later on, taking up this life of inner evolution through the Shastra Adhyanam and Sadhana. There should never be ambiguity regarding this. Many of us don't have ambiguity, we have clarity, but the clarity has not yet become conviction, and we have not yet totally have molded ourselves towards that. Still we are on the wall. कभी इस तरफ कूदते हैं, कभी उस तरफ कूदते हैं. And it is natural for everyone in that stages of evolution. But slowly we have to take turn toward this. And the beauty in this human life is what? When you are walking spiritual path for some distance, and then take a turn toward the worldliness, and travel in that worldliness path for some time and look back, you will see that the path spiritually walked is disappeared. Then you continue material path. In the same way, when you take up the spiritual path, when you are in the material world now, taking up the spiritual path little later and move toward the spiritual goal path for some time. When you look back, then the worldly path disappears. Therefore, one need not worry about all that. It just goes away because it's unreal. So all doubts will vanish because the cause of the doubt, the worldliness itself will go away. That's how the rishis, munis, as if it's unconnected to the world in their own ashramas. सोचो कभी क्या कर रहे होंगे जो कर रहे होंगे बट एक बात तो सत्य है when they are not involved in the world neither is lost to the world nor the lost to them. First thing is that. Then the greatest thing what they are doing of molding their mana buddhi indriyas and using the buddhi for the higher contemplation to know the truth and establishing that. That's the highest job they are doing. So this is how slowly we have to convince ourselves, convert ourselves from what we are doing to what we are supposed to do. Clear? Now, in the sixth Anuvaka, we have seen that we have to discover ourselves to be the Purusha in the Hrudaya Akasha, who is Manomaya, who is Manomaya, who is Amritaha, who is Hiranmaya. Tasminnam Purusha Manomaya Amrito Hiranmaya. That. And it takes time to recognize ourselves to be the jiva in our own heart, who, because of habits and vasanas, was identified with the mana, indriya, and deha, and conduct in the world outside. And all that is out of compulsion of prarabdha, not the need. There's no compulsion of necessity. It's on the prarabdha. And how much need necessity is there? Only to give back what we take from the world in the form of that kritajnata. That's it. More than that, living life at the worldly level with the deha indriya pranamana tadatmya is not that way compulsory. So I am various margas of yoga sadhana or even the Vedantic sadhana. We have to slowly lift his identity from individual to the total. One point. Second is he slowly ejected out of the Deha Tadatmya while living also or while living up to some level we came and toward the end of life we are consciously, willingly, by our own choice, we as an individual eject out of this Deha through this Sahasrara or Vyapohya Shirsha Kapali. So, never have any confusion. Up to the fifth Anuvaka, the variety of upasanas are done by which all our faculties are integrated and they are brought to something called as Adhyatmikata. Or they are brought to something to see three and also to see the fourth, which is the substratum. And that in the pursuit of discovering the ultimate substratum, first we have to discover ourselves first of all, other than these three, Anna Prana Mana, that I, when I become very substantially that I am that individuality, which we technically explained as the Ahamruti illumined by Chidabhasa, identified with that Chidabhasa, becoming a knower and becoming an owner and becoming a doer and becoming an enjoyer. With the upadhis of mana, indriya, and deha in the world. That to me is very specific, untouched by any of these upadhi, untouched, unidentified in the flood of ignorance, using the upadhi, but not falling to the level of identifying the with the upadhi with the mama and aham wrong relation. All this we were discussing yesterday exhaustively in the Drugdrushya Viveka Shastram also. Here also we discussed it. So that I slowly through this Anahata, through the Vishuddha Chakra, through the Sahasrara, we eject out of it consciously. This was the topic told to us. Thereafter, the one way is what from there be attentive, the possibilities. For the highly evolved one, while being in the body itself, going out of this deha is a merging with conscious Parabrahma. That's all. No, it's like directly the rain falling in the ocean. Every drop of rain, wherever it falls, ultimately will have to merge in the ocean only. But direct falling in the ocean is direct falling. One way of this is the moment you leave the body, already in the self experience by living, when we live into that infinite Paramatma Tattva, we merge in. Second highest level after that is what? We straight away go to the Brahma Loka. And there, again listening to Tattva, we realize. The third level is what? Depending on our levels of upasanas or sadhanas or ability or qualification or whatever sadhana we have done, we go to Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka. And having gone there, then there we pursue sadhana. From there we go to Brahmaloka and realize, or from there itself also we can. These are the various possibilities. Depending on our life we lived in so many lives, particularly in this life, in this deha. द जीवा इन मी कितना एवॉल्व हुआ है उसके अनुसार इनकी गति आगे होती है एंड दिस आर ऑल स्पिरिचुअल गतिज द नॉन स्पिरिचुअल गतिज अगेन यू नो when the papa is excessive we go to naraka and pashu pakshi yoni when the punya is excessive we go to swarga and all these bhoga lokas of swarga and yaksha kinnara kimpurusha all that. When the Papa Punya is the Samastiti, we are in the again back to human life. This is how we are sent beyond this body. That is how we came from earlier place. Once we are leaving this body, as a sadhaka, we have special choices for us, special facilities for us to choose. Is it not like a highly qualified person, like IAS, first to five, civil services, में, first 100 ranks or whatever, they have choice. इन एनी ऑफ दी कॉम्पिटेटिव एग्जाम जो टॉप में होते हैं चॉइस होता है उनका क्या अडॉप्ट करे जो नीचे रैंक वाला आता है उसको कोई है ही नहीं जो मिला वही कर लो बस मेडिकल में कुछ नहीं मिला वेटरनरी बन गया अभी it is not less that is also medical profession that's also part of the great life but in the choice there's no choice है कि नहीं आप क्या करें ग्रेजुएशन में कहीं सीट नहीं मिला तो कॉमर्स पढ़ते कॉमर्स इज अ बिग सब्जेक्ट दैट वे बट इन द ट्रेडिशन इन द वे ऑफ लुकिंग द वर्ल्ड दे अडॉप्ट द हाईएस्ट नहीं तो सेकंड तो मौका ही नहीं तो ये वाला we have no choice those who have never done sadhana and did all negative works choicelessly they are pushed to those lokas those dehas उनको उतना औकात नहीं है हमारा like if it is your car you can sit in any seat ड्राइवर है बट इट इज अ बस जो अलाउड करते हैं उसमें बैठना है रिजर्व्ड बस अगर रिजर्वेशन भी नहीं है तो खड़े होकर चलना पड़ेगा इन द सेम वे द जीवा इन मी goes into different worlds depending on his sadhana. If he has no sadhana, he'll be pushed choicelessly. If all the samskaras are of any of the animal, they won't even ask us. Just धक्का दे दिया बस. But lot of sadhana done, then we are given the best. Even the highest level, mein, even choice is given. No, I want to now stay in Himalayan in that way. I want to do sadhana. What given? Or I want to be in this city town, just want to see the whole world. You could given. दिया जाता है anyway that's the variety of things which are possible after we leave the deha clear now here what is said in the phala shruti if this way I recognize myself as that purusha beyond identity with the deha mana buddhi they are only instruments given they are not me now they are me and I am living only for them by them on them as if I am only them right now deha is me mana is me indriya me but here tasmin ayam purusho manomayaha I am not these three they are given to me that's it pakka ho gaya there is no doubt in that and I should be recognizing that purusha and I must live from that point only and from that point only not because of vasana compulsion not because of the habits of the indriya mana not even by the outer shabda sparsa temptation but only on my own choice if at all required I am coming to identify with this upadhi and work through them. Otherwise, going back. As I told you, ना my car. जब चाहिए तो निकालूंगा घूम के आ जाता हूँ. It is my choice. Not that I always sit in the car. That is the achievement here. Tasminayam Purusho Manomaya. And that Purusha, through all yoga sadhana, which are little bit we discussed today, but it's a big subject. You have to thoroughly study and get guided by those Mahatmas. And as regard you and I concerned in Vedanta Marga, the Vedanta Atma Brahma Vichara itself will see to it that we are purified, we have become closer in our identity to the self. With that thing, when you reject the body, again depending on our ability or achievement to whatever extent we reached, then we are sent to different places. But here, the Falashruti is said. What Falashruti said was, ki, first of all, it is like this. I have decided myself to the sadhaka. And sadhaka has to discover his self. Self is everywhere, all pervading. But in the beginning, he'll have to identify himself with the jiva in the hrudaya. For that, he has to get detached from anna prana mana. This is what we said. Now, what is the one way we spoke about how to detach from anna prana mana? One is totally detached by being sakshi, if possible. If that is not done, instead of identifying with one Annamaya, we have to serve the total Annamaya. Instead of identifying with one prana, we have to cater the bhojana of the entire world. Instead of my own this particular upadhi, I have to cater to the total upadhi of the mana. If that vision I develop, that is called as the specific upasanas done. By this, what's happening? If I work through Upadhi or for the Upadhi, I'll work for the entire. If not, no, but I am not identified this individual. In this way, while understanding and doing, be attentive. तो थ्रू उच्चवर द उपाधि अन्न प्राणमय में हम टोटलिटी को सर्व करने में ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस पाते हैं या एक्सपर्ट होते हैं, ज़्यादा करते हैं. According to that, we will be, when we leave the body, we become, we are given permission to, or we become identified with the substratum of these upadhis. Okay? These upadhis is spoken in this sixth anuvaka with the three vyahrutis. Bhur, bhuva, swaha. Now, though they are the words, now here are the upasya upadhis. They are the words, the four vyahrutis. Bhurva, Swaha, Maha. So here Bhurva, Swaha, let us say Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya. When to the total we have served. Then the Bhurva, Swaha Vyahrutiyon ka jo substratum hota hai. Usi tarah, for this Anna Prana Mano, whatever the substratum is there, from the totality point, with that I am identified. When with the total I identify, then I get the power to work through and manage the totality. Now I am living with this one. I don't have power on anything else. Is it not? Like at a lower level of clerk, apne kursi. But when you become officer, all those 10 people are under you. In the same way, while living in the Deha, if I have lived in such a way in which I have evolved to a stage of taking every Deha is same, every prana is same, every mana is same. So there is no difference between this or that. There is only one. Therefore, wherever people are hungry, I am feeding. That is called as identity total pranamaya. Wherever the people are needing some safety, security, I am giving them. That is called rising above one annamaya identity total. So too, wherever the emotions are required of love or kindness or suggestions, advices, they are given irrespective of to whom. So the focus is on the total. In this way, one lives for a long time while being in the Deha. According to that, to each of the Anna Prana Mana, there are substratums. There are the Adhara. With them, we get identified total. That's what is said in Falashruti. In the same way, with the Maha Upadhi, when we do our Upasana, वेरी मच अन्नमय प्राण मनोमय में छोड़कर हमारे अहम अहम जो अंदर है उसी के ऊपर हम भरपूर उपासना करते हैं. इन द सेंस आई आइडेंटिफाई विद द अहम इन एवरीवन, नॉट ओनली द अहम इन मी इन माय हृदय आकाश, बट द अहम इन एवरी हृदय. Then I will be identifying with the total aham, that's called as Mahat Hiranyagarbha. And all of them are still at the Upadhi level. We have not touched the Brahma Tattva still, which is the ultimate main theme of Upanishad. But this Upanishad is giving us various options, possibilities, all the practices, how we can in this way also evolve. In other Upanishads, all these are not talked. Where these are not talked, so many upasanas are not spoken. यहाँ तो शुरू से लेकर अभी तक we are doing upasana. Only upasana means a theme understood, mind is focused to that already existing theme and fixed in that without trying to alter it, without going against it. That's called upasana. गुरु ने जो ज्ञान दिया उसके अनुसार ही जीना उपासना है. शास्त्र ने जो कहा झूठ मत बोलो सच बोलना, उसको करना ही उपासना है. Upa means near, asana means sitting. Means sitting near to my own convictions in my practice. It's called upasana. But that convictions are positive. It can be negative also. Some people have the negative conviction and they do the upasana of that. Therefore, their whole life is negative only. So we are here talking about the positive. What is the positive? About the Kristi, like upasana of Sanskrit is what? Siksha Vyakhyasya. Conviction that without knowledge, transaction cannot happen. Therefore, the upasana is practicing that knowledge. Sanskrit ko seekhna hai. So what is Samhita Upanishad? There is Sandhi Samadhanam Sandhi Sandhanam Pura Uttara Rupa. With that only the world is forming. So observing that and accepting that, and wherever, whatever we have to do, doing that is called as the Samhita Upasana. In this way, we have time and again explained that the meaning of Upasana again and again. So here, this Upanishad that way is guiding us in this way, the evolutionary process. Bypassing all that, straight away being in one deha, one can, through the high level of contemplation meditation, can discover the self. Like the Gurudev and all Mahatma. We don't see them going into all these lokas. Perhaps they might have gone in the earlier their expressions. None of those things are known. Who has done what and reached where, we don't know even ourselves. What we know is now we are human being, we can do sadhana and evolve, and sadhana is indicated to us by the Shastra through the Guru. Study that and evolve. बाकी आगे पीछे ज़्यादा याद नहीं रहता. It is all a process evolution of thousands of lives. आगे का भी याद नहीं. अभी आंखों के सामने क्या है, वो जो समझा उसी को करना अपने हाथ में होता है. Please remember that. Now, so this is how the Phala Shruti. Now let us chant the entire one and straight away we take you to that Bhashya of the sixth Anuvaka, where we are told about Bhurityagno Pratitishthati Ityadi. First chanted Saya Esho Antara Hridaya Akashaha Tasmin Nayam Purusho Manomayah Amruto Hiranmayah अंतरेण तालुके य एषस्तन इवावलम्बते सेन्द्रयोनिः यत्रासौके शान्तो विवर्तते व्यपोह्य शीर्षकपाले भूरित्यग्नौ प्रतितिष्ठति भुव इति वायौ सुभरित्यादित्ये मह इति ब्रह्मणि आप्नोति स्वराज्यं आप्नोति मनसस्पतिं वाक्पतिश्चक्षुष्पतिः श्रोत्रपतिर्विज्ञानपतिः एतत्ततो भवति आकाशशरीरं ब्रह्म सत्यात्मप्राणारामं मन आनन्दं शान्तिसमृद्धममृतम् इति प्राचीनयोग्योपास्व. Now here a temptation at every upasana level, for us to do that upasana. Some Phalashrutis made to listen. Like the Shanno Mitra was the invocatory mantra. What is the Phalashruti? Blessing of all those devatas, faculties are intact. Then Shiksham Vyakhyasya is the upasana of the learning of grammar. What is the Phalashruti? That we are able to talk to Guru, listen from him, gain the knowledge, ask our doubts and all that. The Phala Shruti. Then what is the Samhita Upanishad Upasana when we do? What is the Phala? It is said there. The Samhita Upanishad ka ki sandhiyate prajaya pashubhihi brahmavarsasena annadyena swargena lokena. Each of the Upasana is given with such a beautiful Phala. And all of them have to be done and gained and experienced. हम सबसे थियरी में फंसे हैं. थियरी में थरो होकर शुरू करना है करना, and we have to enjoy it. Then we were taught the Medha, Yaschandasa Amrishabha. That is the Upasana done to the Omkara Bhagavan through Prarthana. And what is the Phala Shruti? Medaya Sprunotu, Shariram Vichashtam, Jiva Manutu, all that. Then what is the Phala Shruti done when we invoke again Omkara Bhagwan, ask from him all the variety of wealths, and through that we do all the Karma Kanda. Phala is what? Upata Durita Kshaya. Everything systematically happening. In the same way now, when we are doing the inner upasana of the Vyahrutis, of the Panchama as well as Shashtonuvakas together. So in the Panchamonuvaka, Bhurvasvaha, so the thing was told was in short. But Panchama Shashta Anuvakas are together, we told you 10 times if you remember. Therefore, because though they are into Anuvaka, but the sadhana is common, it is interconnected. Phalashruti also interconnected. In the fifth Anuvaka, Phalashruti was Tayo Veda, Saveda Brahma, Sarve Asmai Devaha Balimavahanti. It's an introduction is given. Now, उसी का अलग continuation है ये वाला उपासना भी of the sixth Anuvaka. Therefore, Phalashruti, what is said there as a wedding, is explained here. Tayo Veda, Saveda Brahma, Sarvesmai Deva Balimavahanti. So, Saveda Brahma, here also said, Mahaiti Brahma, then Apnoti Swarajyam. Then Sarvesmai Deva Balimavahanti is again detailed explained as he will get so many things of what is said here as Apnoti Manaspaspati, Vakpati, Chakshushpati, Shrotrapati. These are all the things. So, what we have focused last 3-4 minutes is it is not that you are told to do upasana and you are given nothing. Like in some of the companies, in the probationary period, they don't given even the house rent or the food to eat. Only after your training and you are tested and you are qualified and you are appointed, then only you will be given regular salary. Some places they give some amount as what we call it as impression cash or some compliment. Some word is there for it. Impressive cash कहते हैं या some maintenance allowance they say. The only few people even during the period of what to say service also they pay duly the people. वे accommodation अच्छा देते हैं, खाना भी अच्छा देते हैं. The big corporate world, big medical ये लोग ऐसे करते हैं. Here also, all other Upanishads, no phala. Only when we become Brahmatmaikya Bodha, then you are a permanent employee and your salary is Brahmananda. Is it not in all other Upanishads? Brahma Jnana milne ka moksha. Till that time struggle karte raho, sunte raho, dhyan karte raho. In the Upanishad ऐसा नहीं है, in Taittiriya. You are given the Upasana and you are given phala. Upasana, phala. मतलब क्या है? Enjoy करते जाना. That's the kindness of this rishi or these Upanishads. Taittiriya में ये मजा है हमको. And all of them are not the goal. Goal is again as it is there in every Upanishad, Parabrahma Prapti. If it is not Parabrahma Prapti goal, then it is not called as Upanishad. You we have seen in the introduction of every Upanishad, Upanishad means Brahma Vidya, Atma Vidya, Brahmatmika Bodha Vidya. Because with that only the Ananda Prapti, after which only the kamana of the mind goes away, then samsara goes away. आत्म कामना से आत्म प्राप्ति के बाद ही बाकी सारे कामनाएं और उसी के द्वारा होने वाला संसार शाश्वत रूप से चला जाता है. This to be a standard thing in our mind we have to keep permanently. If the Atma Prapti is not done through sadhana backed by the Atma Kamana, we are in the Anatma, then the Anatma never is satiated. Therefore, a person has a desire-oriented personality. He will live only for fulfilling desires for millions and millions of lives. For that, all Papa Punya he does. Because of that, he goes to Naraka Swarga. Nimajjonmajjatam ghore bhavabdau paramayanam. You know, in Bhagavad Purana, last few slokas, Bhagavan said, Santa Brahmavida Shantaha Naurdrudevapsu Majjatam. See that great sloka? In this way, only in the Atma Brahma Prapti, all journeys end by reaching to the ultimate destination. In the other thing, there is no anybody. Even Brahmadeva has his own desire. For what? Extension karo mera, या और एक बार दे दो मुझे पोस्ट. His desires end only when he discovers he is Aham Brahmasmi. Indra also, he wants extension or he want to go somewhere. That want remains till we don't discover our essential self. Please keep it as a very powerful thought in us. That only slowly starts working in molding our entire attention efforts for this goal, taking us away from all other pursuits. वो अभी नहीं हुआ हमको, अभी उतना पक्का नहीं है कि आत्मज्ञान से मोक्ष है, इसलिए हमको बाकी चीज़ों के प्रति भी मन जाता है, हम उसमें रमण करते हैं, हमको एन्जॉयमेंट होता है उसमें. वी आर ओनली एट द इन्फेंट लेवल, देयर इज नो डाउट, you and me both as speaker and listener. Anyway, now this is said. Now, what are the phala shruti? When I, while being in the deha, to identify with my own jiva in the hridaya akasha, further the necessary sadhana of detaching from the anna prana mana, and that I did by serving the total anna prana mana, depending on all these sadhanas done, when consciously eject out of this deha through this cranium, through this Shirshaka Pala, through this Brahmarandra, depending on the sadhana, where do I go? Where am I given the post or position? This is what is said one by one. So we see that Vyapohya Shirshaka Pale. यहाँ तक आप समझ में आ गया ना? Again I'll chant without explaining. अंतरेण तालुके य एषः स्तन इव अवलम्बते सह इंद्रयो सा इंद्रयोनिः. Then from here, yatrasau keshanto vivartate. He goes there. Means, like in our journey also, it is a long journey. In between, we stop somewhere and place ourselves there somewhere for relaxation. Again, proceed. Here also, from so many places, distraction through the Muladhara se ya shuru karte hue up to Anahata we came, stayed there sometime. Then we reached to the Vishuddha, relaxed little bit, and came to the straight away the cranium Sahasrara, stayed there. Then once that stability is done, then further, like when you go to Kailas Mansarovar, there are spots in between. It's exactly like reaching Paramatma only through the Chakra Vedan. So every night they make us stay one place. Then you get made to warm up yourself and become qualified for the more tougher journey ahead. Because ज़्यादा ठंड है, कम ऑक्सीजन है, ये सब हमसे कराते, धीरे धीरे ले जाते. So here also up to this place we came. Then Vyapohe Shirsha Kapale. Antarena Taluki. First is what? Purusha Akasha. Isayeshontara Purusha Akasha. Tasminayam Purusho Manomaya Amurto Hiranmaya. He is found established. Acha मैं ये हूँ. I am that never dying, knowledge gaining, other gaining that knowledge with the thoughts of the mind, that individuality I am. Purushaha, Manomayaha, Amrutaha, Hiranmayaha. All these four words should be understood about ourselves. All these words should reveal to our understanding about ourselves that I am that ego, individuality, who through the mind becoming the knower of the world. I am the individuality is Purusha. Through the mind is Manomaya. Knowing the world is Hiranmaya. And this I am continuing from one day to the other. It is Amrutamaya or Amruta. This is what I have to recognize myself to be. And in this way, when I come to this level and also look at everybody from that standpoint, all the tadatmyas with the dehadi go away. The consequent vikaras of kama ityadi, they just get fizzled out if you can reach to that level somehow through all these sadhanas. कुछ भी कर हम फंस जाते हैं ना अपने आइडेंटिटी में. Then the earlier lusts and passions which were at the level of their tadatmya, which were again natural because of the evolution as well as because of practice in so many other animalistic lives, all of them would be found as redundant. देखो हृदय आकाश के पुरुष से तादात्म्य करो तो अन्नमय का लेजीनेस, प्राणमय का all the अन्न भोजन इत्यादि, मनोमय के काम विकार and all other kama led krodha lobha mohamad atsarya, these nonsense things go away. Annamaya staying at the bhuloka. Pranamaya is staying in the antariksha loka. Manomaya is staying in the narakar swarga. When you go to the hridayamaya purusha, we reach to the beyond these three things, called as from here Hrudaya, Vishuddhi, then the Agnya and above are like Hrudaya Akasha, you come, you are in Maharloka. Vishuddhi, Janaloka. Then you are in Agnya Chakra, Tapoloka. And Sahasrara, we are in Brahmaloka. Satyaloka कहते हैं उसको. These are all what is in Brahmanda alone is in Pindanda. Understood? I am identified with Deha, therefore I look at everybody as Deha, and the life transaction is only at the body level. I identify with Prana, I look at others as Prana, a transaction ऐसा होता है. When I look at myself as Mana, then Manovikara, and I look at everybody in that emotional, sentimental way. If I understand myself to the individual, then I can see every body moving, having the content in it, that individual. At the higher level, the body, the individual is the content, the body is contained. वो बाद में. First now, right now, the body is a content, container, the jiva is the content too. At the higher level, the jiva is a container, the body is a content. वो उल्टा होएगा when we do sadhana. But now we are only explaining, therefore, explanation level में ऐसे ही कहना होता है कि everyone is a container having the jiva in them content. Whether they know it or not, I know it. Like how the guru looks at us. He looks at us as Atma because he is in the Atma Anubhuti. And at the transactional level, he looks at us, himself is Jnani and we are Ajnani. Therefore, he understands us that we are ignorant. Therefore, he helps us to come out of that ignorance. However, इसी तरह से we can in fact by rising this way to the higher, we can transcend the endless, otherwise endless life of lower level. नहीं तो देह प्राण तादात्म्य फिर खाना भोग करना ही फिर देन 10 लाइव्स वी आर सेंट टू बिकम एन एनिमल पशु बिकॉज उनका वही काम होता है ईटिंग मेटिंग स्लीपिंग दैट्स इट इफ माई माइंड इज नाउ ओनली इन दीज थ्री थिंग्स नॉट परसुइंग द हायर गोल ऑफ द सेल्फ आई विल बी सेंट ओनली टू द एनिमल योनि बी केयरफुल अबाउट इट एंड इट कैन कंटिन्यू Again, having born as animal and very powerful, these things are exhausted. Again, sent back to human as another choice. But यहाँ आकर दोबारा अगर हम शास्त्र नहीं पढ़े या खुद ही सोचकर तत्व के प्रति नहीं मुड़े, if we don't turn toward the truth, again back to the same. Like every day going to office, coming home, eating, sleeping, again every day वही तो है. This, by the way, keep in mind. So up to this we have explained. Vyapavokya Shirsha Kapale. Having reached there, when he breaks the Shirsha Kapala in a subtle manner, goes out of it. Where this individuality, which was earlier staying in the Deha, identified Deha, goes to. हमको पता होना है ना देखो हम क्या कर रहे हैं इसके बाद में कहाँ जाना है कहाँ जाएंगे. We should know about journeys, our destination. Like physically also when you are in train bus, it's better to know the intermediate stations along with your destination where you have to get down. पता चलता है आइडिया आता है कि कितने किलोमीटर है या कितने घंटे हैं. तो here also depending on what we do we are given various destinations. Again I am telling none of them are Brahma Tattva. They are lower than that only, but they are all phala of this great upasanas done as a gifts given by the Lord. First one, Bhurityagnav Pratitishthati Bhuvariti Vayau Suvarityaditye Mahaiti Brahmani. 4. Apnoti Swarajam. 5. Apnoti Manasaspatim Vakpati Chakshushpati Shrotrapati Vijnanapati. 5. 10 no way. Etat Tataha Bhavati, even beyond this. What is that? Akasha Shariram Brahma Bhavati. Satyatma Bhavati. Pranaramam Bhavati. Shanti Samruddha Amrutam Bhavati. These are the great results which we are discussing one by one now. Oh my dear Prachina Yogya, therefore do this Antara Vyahrati Upasana, because even though ultimate goal is Parabrahma, it seems you are not very much interested in that. Yet, therefore, I am giving you the Upasana by which you will get all these siddhis, all the achievements. Then when through this Upasana, these siddhis are achieved, when you get inspired and ask me, like this, I am enjoying what I am doing and getting the result, or the result is pushing me to do the thing? Is there anything ultimate gain for which what I have to do? Can you tell me? Then Brahmavida Apnoti Param is explained to us. Like a lazy fellow, beggar, and whatever third rate thing comes to him 2 दिन पहले का खाएगा. सडनली उसको 1 घंटे का काम दिया, 20 रुपए दे दिए, जाकर एक प्लेट इडली खाया. So there is a temptation in him कि I worked and I got a fresh idli. Then anything more, sir? या 2 घंटे काम करो. So you'll get more money. Then you get double. है ना, लंच ऑल्सो आपको अच्छा मिलेगा. 6, 7, 8 hours you work. Not only you get good food of 3 times, but you get good clothing, place to stay. This is how the person, because of phala, starts involving in karma. So too, then upasana phala is given, upasana karma, we keep on doing. In spirituality, the point is we should never be stagnant. We should go on being progressive. And that progressiveness is only in the spiritual marga, not again back to the worldly marga. But if you don't go to worldly marga, then how do you get the worldly things in spirituality when you do upasanas? Have that technique. That special blessing is there. Without doing anything worldly, through upasana also, what do we get when you involve in the world? All of them are given. That's what in Swarga. What did you do? What Swarga, Udyogam you do there? Nothing. But here you have done the Upasana. That Punya Phala gives all facility to Swarga. Further, you need not work specially. Like I did not do any special effort to get this Karmendriya, Jnanendriya. They are given to me because I as a Jiva did lot of Punya which deservingly gave me these Upadhis. तो आध्यात्मिक साधना से सारे भौतिक संपदा में मिलता है, याद रखना. साधना इज नॉट अल्टीमेट साधना बट थ्रू उपासना. Why? Because the managing Lord of the entire universe, He will provide it. That's it. See, what is the relation between the work we do in the government office and the houses, the cars, the other things the government gives? इसका उसका संबंध ही नहीं है, लेकिन है. Because you are doing upasana of me, the government, I provide you the facilities. Is it not? I give money in a shop. He is giving groceries to me. इसका उसको संबंध ही नहीं है. But by giving the money, I am doing upasana to you. You are reciprocated by these groceries which are required to you. Like I am sowing seed in the earth. That is upasana. But seed is not coming. What comes out is a big plant and through that lot of fruits, etc. अरे इसका उसको संबंध ही नहीं है. कैसा हो रहा है? अरे भाई ये उपासना तुम कर रहे हो, उसका वो फल है. In the same way, the Vyahruti Upasana has got this excellent phala. One by one we see. First one what? Ki Swarupa Pratitvaram iti artha. Now, Taya evam vidvan. Taya means by that Brahma Marga, by this, what is said here, is Indra Yonihi, the Indra Marga, Taya evam vidvan. The one who has identified himself and lifted himself from the Hridaya Akasha up above. That person. Who is he? Very specifically it is said. Now he is not Brahma Tattva. He is not even the Dehadi Tadatma Yukta Samsari. He is in between case. He found himself to be an individual. That individual we generally call is as Jiva. Such Jiva here defined as Manomaya Atmadarshi, which I explained yesterday. The one who does the darshan of himself as Manomaya. Means he himself is a thought, and whatever he is doing in the world is through the thoughts only. Other things of Annamaya, Pranamaya, emotions of the mana, they are detached from. They are used if they are required as instruments. Otherwise, more than that, there is no affinity with them. I am only Manomaya Atmadarshi. Baki se sambandh nahi hai. Such person, first one, Murdhana Vinishkramya, from the head when he comes out of it, that Jiva, not the Deha. How can the Deha come out of the Murdhana? मैं जो अपने आप को इन देह से अलग पकड़ लिया, अलग समझ लिया, अलग पा लिया. For that lot of upasana dhyana has to be done. That upasana, that dhyana itself is upasana. The upasana itself dhyana, where I recognize myself to be the jiva and cut all the attachments of the jiva with anna prana mana through the aham and mama bhavana. That individual me. दैट इज मनोमय आत्मदर्शी. अभी भी देहात्मदर्शी अभी हम, है ना. देह को आत्मा के दर्शन रखकर जीते हैं. दर्शी मीन्स विजनरी. माई विजन इज अहम देहोस्मि नाउ. माई विजन इज अहम प्राणास्मि. इन द सेम वे माई विजन इज मनोमय आत्मदर्शी. मैं मनोमय को आत्मा मानने वाला जीव हूं. अभी परब्रह्म नहीं बना, आनंदमय चिन्मय नहीं बना, अभी मनोमय है. सच वन मूर्धन विनिष्क्रम्य, हैविंग गॉन आउट ऑफ दिस क्रेनियन पाथ, because this is the path through which the jiva enters the heart. Having entered, he identifies the upadhis and suffers. And that continues till he retraces his path to go this way out. And this is the Urdhva Marga, it is called. The rejection of ourselves consciously through the Sahasrara is the path of evolution. All other way when we live, it is devolution. And Murtana Vinishkramya, the yogis do consciously. The Vedantis are not conscious, but that's how they live. उनका भी शिरस्थान से ही ऊपर जाना होता है. Yogis, they do consciously. And the Vedantins, they deserve it, and for them also, the ejection is through the Sahasrara only. There's no doubt about it. ऐसे नहीं सोचना योग मार्ग में है उनको ऐसे जाकर मुक्ति मिलता बाकी को नहीं. नहीं, मार्ग is this and that, but both of them will live in this way. फर्स्ट मूर्धना विनिष्क्रम्य. नाउ सुनो, एक बाय एक आ रहा है. फर्स्ट, अस्य लोकस्य अधिष्ठाता भूः ब्रह्मणः अंगभूतः तस्मिन् अग्नौ प्रतितिष्ठति. अज्ञात्मना इमं लोकं व्याप्नोति इत्यर्थः. व्हाट ए ब्यूटीफुल एक्सप्लेनेशन. The one who is living this, Deha through Murdhana, Shirobhaga, this much is understood. So the next one. What it does? Asya lokasya adhishtata. For the entire world, the Asya loka means the Bhuloka. Adhishtata, Bhuhu iti Vyahruti. Now the Bhu is a Vyahruti name given to the entire Adhishtana of the Bhumi. Bhumi is the Adhisthana for all of us. Every Sthula Deha has come from the Bhumi only. So that Bhumi is a Bhu Vyahruti. Now a Bhumi who is named as Bhu Vyahruti, uska Adhisthana कौन है? अग्नि ही. उस अग्नि कौन है? महतः ब्रह्मणः अंगभूतः. Who is the anga of the Mahat Brahma, not Parabrahma. Mahat Brahma is Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is the one who is identified with the total subtle. Clear? He is the one who is managing the total subtle through various again devatas who are under his control. So to that Mahat Brahma, not Parabrahma, Mahat Brahma, this Agni is Anga. Please remember, this Agni is the Adhisthana for this Sthula Bhumi. Because explained yesterday, if from the Agni only, the Rupa starts. So Bhumi is Rupa Yukta. There is a form, there is a substantiality, it is a solidity. Bhumi can be held or touched or measured and looked into. All these are possible. But this Bhumi has its Adhisthana in Agni. Okay? And Agni is an Anga of the Mahat Brahma, Hiranyagarbha. This person who ejects out of the body while living in the life, when he was living for the total Deha, he will be identified with the Agni Tattva. That promotion is given to him. That is why Bhagavan says here, Agni Atmana imam lokam vyapnoti ityartaha. Means what? He becoming one with the Agni Tattva, he will find and experience himself to be vyapta in the entire Bhuloka as the Agni, just like the Agni has permeated. How do you understand it? An example of car driver. He is sitting only in one seat. But is he not identified with the entire car in a subtle form? And then only he can drive properly the car without dashing anybody left or right. Is it not? In the scooter, my expanse is only up to scooter level. But in the car way, I am seated in my car, my seat, but other three seats also identify with it. It is not sthula. Deha drushti se nahi. Sukshma roop mein. Therefore, he negotiates the traffic to take the whole car, not that मेरा सीट जगह जो है वो सेफ होने दो, जहाँ मैं नहीं बैठा हूँ उसको एक्सीडेंट होने दो, ऐसा थोड़ी करते हो. He identify. I am explaining the word identification here. In the same way, Agni Atmana ivam lokam vyapnoti. So, one is what? He transcended the Stula. Second is what? He got identified with the Sukshma or the Adhisthana of the Stula Bhumi called as Agni. Third, therefore, because he is identified with Agni, Agni being undividable thing and Agni being totally permeated in the earth, he will be feeling or experiencing his permeability in the entire earth. Therefore, from the Agni standpoint, like from the Bhumi or Bhumi made Deha standpoint, there are so many differences, Taratamyas are there. But the common cause of all of them is Agni. Agni is one different, one without second. Because he is identified with that Agni, wherever he will see the whole Stula Dehas, individualized or total earth, he knows he is a substratum of all of them. Therefore, he can detach from any one of them anytime, he can attach to any one of them, he can have body anywhere, he can love all of them, all those facilities as the Atma of the Bhu as an Agni, he gets there. तो ऐसा इमेजिन करो सारा स्थूल भूमंडल का मूल कारण अग्नि से वो तादात्म्य होने के कारण भूमंडल में हर जगह उस अधिष्ठान के रूप में रहकर ही loves all of them, he identifies all of them, he can function through all of them, any one of them, anytime. Because he is the adhisthana. That's what he says. Agni Mahatah Brahmana Angabodha Tasmin Agno Pratishtitah Agni Atmana Imam Lokam Vyapnoti Tyartaha. Earlier, what was he as a Jiva? He was only in this Deha Tadatmita. That was all because of ignorance only. First of all, he is not should not be identified with only this Deha, any Deha also. How उसमें इधर आकर फंस गया हम. But because of the catering to the needs of the total stula, when we were in this body, we are given such a permission to get identified with Agni Tattvam, that Agni is all permeating in the earth. I don't feel shy or anything. स्वामी मैं कैसे हो सकता हूँ एवरी रूप में अरे एवरी रूप में अग्नि है ना या अग्नि निकाल दो तो रूप नहीं होता रिमेम्बर when we expose any of the object to the fire what happens the form which was supported with the fire in that is taken back by the fire therefore an object loses its form then it substantially goes away then where it goes when the form is taken away it goes to the next element called as vayu and then akasha हो जाता है फिर वायु भी अपना अंश ले जाता है तो आकाश में चला जाता है आकाश भी अपने अंश ले जाता है उसमें से then he goes is to samashti ahankar these things merge in the higher and subtler things when these things are taken away from them. So we need not study all that exhaustively. I know what I am talking. I'm very conscious of it. Nothing is there vague for me. Yet I'm not in those details or direction not taking. What is said in the Upanishad, usko hi hum stick karenge. So this I, when he goes out of Shirsha Kapala, gets identified with the Agni Tattva, which is from one side, he is the Anga of the Mahat Brahma. Second side, he is the Adhisthana of the entire Bhu Vyahuti. So as an Agni, I am permeating the entire universe. And the entire universe is the manifestation of Agni, grossification of Agni. Then I myself, in the form of Bhumi and in the form of everything coming out of the Bhumi, I am only there. That experience you'll have, which looks to very peculiar from this standpoint because we are habituated to be cocooned only in one deha. जबकि सपने में हम इस देह में रहते ही नहीं निद्रा में कोई भी देह में नहीं रहते हैं इवन द जागृत अवस्था एवरी डे द बॉडी इज चेंजिंग इन एवरी 7 years every cell of the body dies and the new cells come. If your age is 70 years, already 10 times every ounce of the body is changed. Everything is changed. But we don't think it that way. Imagine the same continuing. Like I told you, शादी के समय ससुर जी ने दिया साइकिल, लॉन्ग बैक, आई गिव दिस एग्जांपल। एंड शादी हो गया 60 साल पहले था, तो बढ़िया था, यूज अ साइकिल, आउट ऑफ लव ही गेव मी सो आई कैन गो टू ऑफिस। देन व्हेन आई ट्रैवल्ड इन दैट साइकिल आफ्टर 2 years, तो सीट खराब हो गया, या 1 साल में, देन खराब हो गया तो कैसे, फिर यू कांट, चुपता रहता है, तो सीट चेंज। आफ्टर सम टाइम सडनली कुछ देर इधर गिर गए तो हैंडल टूट गयो, नया हैंडल लगा लियो। देन हाउ लॉन्ग द ट्रेन साइकिल व्हेन एवरी डे आर ट्रैवलिंग, द टायर्स ट्यूब्स विल बी इंटैक्ट। तो पहले पीछे पहिया का बदल दिया, बिकॉज दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट, एवरी कंट्रोल सर्विस बैक टायर ओनली। देन एंड आई सिट ऑल्सो मोर सब्सटेंशियल ऑन द बैक टायर। देन आफ्टर सम टाइम द फ्रंट टायर भी गया, फिर उसको भी रिप्लेस कर दी। देन द चेन बेरिंग्स तो रस्ट हो गया, आई चेंज। आफ्टर 6 years, if you see, none of the thing given by this ससुर जी is there in the chair, बट फिर इन दैट साइकिल, बट फिर भी हम कहते हैं ससुर जी ने साइकिल दिया। नन ऑफ द पार्ट रिमेन्स। Like after 100 years, our constitution given by Ambedkar, not even one thing is there. Everything is amended only. Ambedkar. Same way, after 7 years, not even one cell of the body remains as same, but still we imagine that we are same. These are all notions only. Anyway, the point is what? Bhuhi iti agnyau pratitishthati means Agni Atmana idam Vishwam Vyapnoti. Why I gave this example? Because of identifying if this is the body, we feel shy or we feel it is impossible to accept this possibility of becoming one with the Agni Tattva. To explain that, we have given the idea, even this Deha is not the same in 70 years, 10 times it changes. In Swapna, there's different subtle body, subtle Sharira. In Nidra, तो कोई देह होता ही नहीं है। ये सब बार बार क्यों सोचना? Only to understand that Deha and Deha level of living alone is not ultimate. It is only a part. Not only a part, it is most worst part, because it is not allowing her to rise above. ये 1000 बार सोचो तभी स्थूल देह से हटकर सूक्ष्म में जीने का संकल्प या इच्छा या प्रयत्न जागृत होगा। दैट इज कॉल्ड रियल साधना। दैट इज कॉल्ड रियल जीवा इवॉल्विंग टू हिज ओन नेचर, धीरे धीरे। Second one, this is understood. Let's start from here. The Parabrahma is different from the standpoint the world we are seeing. World has its own totality. The totality is called Brahma. That is Mahat Brahma, not Parabrahma. Mahat Brahma is an Angi, and all the devatas are Anga. So that Mahat Brahma ka Angaropi Ek Devata Agni. With that, we get identified, and as Agni is whole permeating in the entire earth, entire Bhumandala. Bhumandala is Bhuvyarati. Here, I feel myself that way present everywhere as an Agni. Like I, as a boss, I'm there in the office, in and through everybody, because I order them. I get the work done. वो लोग मेरे लिए काम कर रहे हैं, मैंने जो ऑर्डर दिया वही कर रहे हैं. Although I am again bossed by some other boss up above me. Seen that all the companies of anything, any companies में, हाँ, MD होते हैं, then the direct levels होते हैं, the lower level you see there are the state leaders, then there are district leaders. District leaders control the lower people. All district leaders are under the state leaders. State leaders are under the ultimate. In the same way, here everything is under the control of Mahat Brahma. Mahat Brahma under control में देवता है, देवताओं के कंट्रोल में the स्थूल सूक्ष्म कारण है. So according to our upasana, if our value given to the bhu is more, and that too we cater to the total bhu, not one personal, then I am given promotion to identify with the Agni Tattva. Then as an Agni, I am Vyapnoti everywhere. Now earlier, only in one body, and all the diseases of the body, old age of the body, and demands of the body, laziness of the body, start slave to this Deha. कैसा रक्षड़ता हो जिंदगी. हम देखो everybody is I am, but not as the body, but as its substratum, from where the bodies come and go. Imagine the situation of an Agni, what it must be looking at when the dehas are born, grown, becoming old and dying in it. It is enjoying all this tamasha, yet none of these things are real. I am real. The Agni Tattva feels. All the problem in the Rupa go away when we identify with this Agni Tattva. So this is how Bhuriti Agnau Pratitishtati. Pratishta ko paega wo. He will be experiencing himself Agni. That is called Agni Deva. Agni Deva को जो हम कहते हैं हम खुद अग्नि देव बनते हैं. Everywhere there is an Agni. Agni is in two forms, the unmanifest and manifest. Unmanifest, subtly manifest and manifest. Unmanifest is he is when he is in Mahat Tattva. Subtly manifest, he is in every Rupa. And that thing, when it is burnt, then we can see the Agni Devata's gross manifestation. It's not only the wood has the fire that it is called as firewood. Every Rupa has fire. That is why anything can be burnt in this world. Second one, Bhuva iti Vayau Pratitishtati Tata Bhuva iti Ditiya Vyahruti Atmani Vayau Pratitishtati iti Anuvartate. इस तरह से कंटिन्यू होगा, हर बार हम नहीं कहेंगे, सीक्वेंस सेम है, आप समझ लेना. To the one who has done the upasana of while leaving the body, all Annamaya koshas, by catering to the bhojana of all, not only human being, to the bird, to the animal, plants, because they understood that hunger is common everywhere. Everybody needs a food to be given. Therefore, not only to this pranamaya kosha, but he is giving food to the all pranamaya koshas. Consciously, knowing the importance of the anna to be given to pranamaya kosha. Not like the anna giving a servant in a hotel. होटल में सर्वेंट सबको खाना परोसता है, बट नॉट एज ए साधक, तो नौकरी की तरह कर रहा है. स्पिरिचुअलिटी से साधना, इट्स नॉट ए नौकरी. A feeling as much is sacred this pranamaya to me, which I take care by giving food. Every pranamaya is equally sacred. Therefore, is not seeing the deha or the yoni, but his attention is only on pranamaya. And therefore, the lakshana of the pranamaya is hunger. That has to be satiated by giving food. तो उसके दृष्टि लाइक देयर सम पीपल, कोई भी आए खाना देते हैं, उनका अर्थ क्या हुआ, वो लोग सबके प्राणमय कोश से तादाद, बड़े बड़े लंगर देने वाले एंड ऑल. इन देम द डीप एटीट्यूड इज नोबडी सफर विथ हंगर. स्पेशली इट हैपेंस इन गर्मियाँ सीजनों में. खाना दे भी देते, कुछ जगह खाना दो या ना दो, पानी देते. व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ पानी देना और कूल ड्रिंक्स देना और मट्ठा लस्सी देना? What is the thing behind nobody should suffer for the thirst in Garmi? This is a bold statement, but behind that, inquire about it. There is every individual, in all of them, there is Pranamaya Kosha, and it feels thirsty. To that Pranamaya Kosha, the water is given. So, I think was a total Pranamaya. That's how he lived while living. By doing so, not only transcended his pranamaya in the deha, which was essential to recognize the Purusha in the Hridaya Akasha, but this catering to the total pranamaya kosha, not only me, he has qualified him later on when he goes out of the Kapala Siksha to identify with the Vayu Tattva, which is the Adhisthana for the entire pranamaya kosha in the world. So, as a Vayu again, he is there permeating all the pranamaya kosha. Then his hunger is everybody's hunger. Everybody's hunger is his hunger. And he will, with one action, he can satiate the hunger of everyone. Like in Lord Krishna's story. When in Aranyavasa Samaya, Pandavas, because of God's prompting, Bhagavan Surya gave Akshaya Patra. So that Patra ka kya hai? Till Draupadi eats the food, it goes on giving food. Any number of people come. 10 lakh log bhi aaye. Once she eats, then it won't give food. So that's why every day she sees all Atiti Devo Bhava, सबको देकर, पांडवों को देकर, she will eat, wash the बर्तन and रख दो. तो एक दिन ऐसा ही हो गया, 11-12 एक बार जो भी है, सबको दे दिया, खुद भी खा लिए, धो के रख दी. अब उस दिन फिर नहीं आएगा दोबारा उसमें से खाना. That is a rule. Before she eats, any number of people can eat. Suddenly Durvasa came, Rishi, some with thousands of disciples. एंड गुरु वॉज वेरी एंग्री, मैं भूखा हूँ, मैं 1 घंटे में आ रहा हूँ, हम सब नदी में जाए गए नहाने को। नहाने को हम जा रहे हैं, अनुष्ठान करके विल कम बैक, वी नीड फूड। नो, सब बड़े परेशान सब लोग, अब क्या करें, आज तो निकलेगा नहीं पात्र। देन शी रिमेम्बर्ड कृष्ण, एज एवर देर ऑलवेज इन कृष्ण भक्त। ही केम, बताओ क्या है बहन दीदी, शी टोल्ड दिस अ प्रॉब्लम, ही इज कमिंग, ये कोई बात नहीं, कुछ बचा है खाना मेरे को दो। कहाँ बचा है, सब खत्म हो गया। नहीं नहीं, ब्रिंग द बर्तन, शी ब्रॉट दैट अक्षय पात्र। इन दैट अक्षय पात्र, इनसाइड समवेयर कॉर्नर, देयर इज लिटिल शाखा, सब्जी का टुकड़ा, नॉट इवन ग्रेन ऑफ राइस, है शाखा। वाइल वॉशिंग चीज, वॉश डिटर्जेंट वगैरह होते थोड़ी देर उस समय, ऐसे धो दिया। और वो ईश्वर का ही आइडिया होगा उस दिन, दो शी वॉश इट, लिटिल विल लेफ्ट आउट। नो, डोंट डू दिस एट होम एंड टेल दैट मैं द्रौपदी हूँ, ये सब करके मत करना इस तरह, भगवान की कृपा से हो। एनीवे, भगवान टुक दैट शाखा एंड ही एट, इतना ही। Then see the miracle. All the Vishwamitraji Rishi said, they came and they thanked and they said, thank you very much. All our stomachs are filled. We are going. We'll come other day. Without eating anything. Everyone, those thousands of people were there. All their hunger was satiated by Lord Krishna by taking this one grain, because at that time he identified with the pranamaya kosha of all of them. Bhuva iti vayau. He ate this much, but everybody is. These are all. They are all not. What do you say? This is out there in the Srushti. Those things happen. They are not a hypnotism or any of the non-existing जादू नहीं है. ये तो सच है, ऐसा होता है. We have seen in our life, like in some cases, you see the bhakta was beaten by those dushtas. That beating goes to Bhagavan there. He received it there. उनका चेहरे में लाल रंग। लक्ष्मी देवी पूछ रहे क्या हुआ, या कुछ नहीं, इसी से नो नो कुछ हुआ। तो ठीक है, मैं बताता हूँ कि मेरे भक्त को मारे, और उसने कृष्णा का हाथ देना, ही रिसीव्ड इट। और विष्णु, these are the higher things which continuously happen in the world. We are unaware, we are busy with our TV and useless things. How do we have this subtlety to understand? And all these revelations happen only when we do lot of upasanas. One of the big faida of the upasana is what? Our faculties become so subtle, sublime, and divinized. The subtle things that are happening in this universe, they are revealed to us. दो हो गए, भुवरिति वायौ, सो वायु आत्मना इति, तथा भुव इति द्वितीय व्यावृत्ति आत्मनि वायौ प्रतिष्ठति इति अनुवर्तते. So the entire Vayu Mandala, he will be permeating, becoming the Vayu. And the Agni and Vayu are the Anga of the Mahat Brahma. Then the Mahat Brahma orders him, then as a Vayu, he will satiate the hunger of anyone anytime. कभी कभी हमको ना 8-8 घंटे भी काम करो, भूख ही नहीं लगता. कभी कभी खाते ही 2 घंटे, फिर भूख लगती है, अगेन कुछ मंगा के खाते हैं. We should observe all these are happening. Then we should question how is it happening. The grocery, the medical doctor say कि जब hyperglycemia हो गया तो भूख नहीं लगी, hypo तो हो गया. They tell that way readings देखकर, but it is not gross. Why even that is happening? In a higher level में, when I ate without my permission, the power of or the shakti of this eating is transferred to somebody in a subtle form, because of which I felt again hungry. In another case, somebody ate excessively and that Shakti came to me, therefore for 10 hours I was not hungry. ये ट्रांजैक्शन बैलेंसिंग ये सूक्ष्म लेवल में होता है. कोई कॉन्शियसली भी करेंगे, कुछ अपने आप में ऑटोमेटिक सेटअप में होता है. So very sublime things that happen in the universe. Like ज्योतिष शास्त्र में हम कहते हैं ना, on the day of Ugadi, they talk about the धन लाभम धन नष्टम, something they speak. इन राशि वालों का आदायम 7, व्ययम 10 he says. No, आदायम 7, व्ययम 10, इनकम 7, खर्चा 10. This fellow gets afraid. because the Jyotish ji never explains him what is the meaning of it, nor इनका दिमाग वहां तक जाता है. The meaning of आदायम 7, earning 7, व्ययम खर्चा 10 का अर्थ क्या है? It is illogical, no? When I earn 7, how can I spend 10? Maximum I can spend is 7 only, no? Then तीन कहाँ से हुआ? The thing is, this fellow somehow will meet such another useless fellow or anybody, उसका उल्टा होता है. देन उसका 3 इसमें जुड़कर ये 7 और 3 मिलकर इसका व्यय होता है. मतलब इसका नुकसान ही नहीं, इसका फायदा ही है. 7 रुपए से 10 का मजा ले रहे हैं. द अदर फेलो, द अदर वे अराउंड, ही सेज आदायम इज 10 एंड देन खर्चा इज 7. What happens to the 3? It doesn't remain with him, it goes to this fellow. This is of the grahas balance it. Of course, following the rules of our relativity, our karma, samashti, और बहुत सारे ऊपर के लेवल में होते रहते हैं. All that is okay. What we understand is Bhuhu is a Vyaharati, its Atma is Agni. With that, we are given permission to identify if we have served the gross bodies in the world. Not only this day. How many is not a question, it's an attitude. So, to how many pranamaya koshas we gave food, that quantity is not the question, but the attitude. Because of which we will be identified with the Vayu after leaving this Deha. In the same way, if we have loved everybody's mana and everybody's mana, we give Sukha Shanti, then the Adhisthana Devata of the total mana, here recorded as Aditya, mana is Jnanam. उस आदित्य से हमको तादात्म्यता मिलेगा. Then as an Aditya, we permeate every mind in the world. Then we will be able to know every mind. We can mold everybody's emotions also. ये सारे थोड़ा और भी हैं, कल हम बताएंगे. ओके, हियर वी स्टॉप हियर. ओम. Slowly see that upasana, how they are lifting our identity. देखो, अहम is a specific individuality. Parabrahma is all pervading individuality. This specific individuality is so peculiar. When I look at the finger, I am only at the finger level. When I look at 2 fingers, I am simultaneously in the set of 2 fingers. When I look at the 5 fingers, I am there in all the 5. देखो, एक में भी मैं था, 2 में भी मैं था, 5 में भी मैं हूँ. सो इस इंडिविजुअलिटी का किसी से भी तादात्म्य करने का कैपेसिटी होता है. Not knowing this and not practicing this, I identified only with one body, not beyond. And in this body also at different parts at different level. Just like being one with the Deha, I can identify with each part also depending on requirement. So too I can identify with the total body yet function through one body. That is a great achievement. Not identifying with the total, but identifying only with one, that also becoming slave to this body called as samsara. अंडरस्टूड. थोड़ा थोड़ा दिमाग खोल रहे हैं ना. इन बातों को ना 3 बार कम से कम सुनना होता है. देन ओनली यू विल रजिस्टर व्हाट इज सेड एंड यू कैन थिंक एंड अंडरस्टैंड. फर्स्ट इट शुड बी रजिस्टर्ड व्हाट इज सेड. दीज टॉपिक्स आर नॉट लाइक अदर उपनिषद वो सिंपली वी वर टॉकिंग. ये तो थोड़ा ध्यान से 3-4 बार सुनो, तभी रजिस्ट्रेशन होएगा. देन यू कैन थिंक ऑन इट, इट बिकम्स नॉलेज. And as an Agni Tattva, all the birth and death of individual body or any number of bodies is meaningless. As a Vayu Tattva, any number of Annamaya Koshas, hungry or thirsty, is meaningless. Because सब इसी में से आ रहे. So as a Aditya Tattva, any number of mind and its emotions are all meaningless. They are coming from me, staying in me, going back. At the same time, it is meaningless to me, like for Gurudev. My Deha Tadatma and my suffering with my Deha is meaningless to him. But because I am his devoted disciple and he accepted it, he helps me even at that level, though it is meaningless for him. लेकिन मुझे मीनिंगफुल है ना. Like compass box, it is meaningless to you, but you buy it for your child because he is your child and he asks you, you give it. In this way, the beautiful thoughts tomorrow. Om 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 Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Paramanushibhyo Parabrahmane Shrutimatre Om Vedavasa Vaishampayani Agnivalkya Hadha Shankaradi Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha Tatsat Brahmarpanamastu. Wonderful friends, continue. Tomorrow we will do the remaining Falashruti also. It will take tomorrow maximum. हो जाएगा तो हो जाएगा and और एक दिन. Then we go to the next seventh Anuvaka, which talks about the Pankta Upasana. Then in the eighth Anuvaka, we will study about the Om Upasana. And in the Navamonuvaka, the amalgamation of all these, along with our duties in the life which we are supposed to do, dono milakar batate. A great that way, if you really have the heart open and see that this Upanishad is so great, so beautiful, so complete. And in this how our Rishi Parampara, our Shastras, our Sanatan Dharma. Please come back to study our Viduraniti 2 minutes, may, for 10 minutes.